I thought you were going to say something more after that.
I was waiting for it. Oh, I thought that you were going to chime in, but it's okay.
Give us another one. We got it. Go ahead.
No, we're not starting over.
How embarrassing. We all beefed it.
It's a podcast.
Bree once started an episode while I was on Instagram. And I'm sitting there like typing away.
Hey,
and
my
she
bad.
goes, "Excuse me, you gonna get off?" And I was like, "Can I edit this out?" And she's like, "No."
This is what people like. They don't like scripted stuff. Hi, I'm Honest Teacher Vibes. Follow my Instagram and my TikTok and my YouTube. I need more followers on YouTube.
Yeah, they really don't like when you
enough.
drop names and stuff like Mrs. William Fifth on TikTok, YouTube,
Or
and
like our Rogers
Instagram.
World. and
She's
it's
a TikTok queen. She has 4.6 million followers. I'm gonna start name dropping you like every
Yeah.
when we walk through the
I have
airport, I know her.
4.6 followers.
4.6.
followers.
I want to know what the point is.
But while we were getting ready for this episode, we honestly started talking about not just our bullies as kids, as students, but also our bullies as teachers. And we thought these are all such great stories.
Yeah.
We should share them and talk to you guys about them because I feel like that's something that's not talked about as much. Like people
For
who,
sure.
like we have platforms, but yet we're like, people don't always like us.
We didn't really
People aren't
segue
always
into
nice to
bullies.
us.
People like, what is she talking about?
What do you mean?
We didn't even segue into bullies. We was like laughing at something random.
Oh, we had a great segue.
Oh, my bad. I messed
Where
it
were
up.
you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I messed it up.
She was thinking about all the torment she's been through in her life.
I got beat up by this girl named Kiyosha.
I was like, I'm very confused. I thought we did say what.
I was like, wait, did I miss it? Because I
I'm
thought
the
we
fifth-
did.
I thought it was a beautiful segue, and I was like, man, that's art.
Thank you.
Okay,
As
well-
Bree says, I have a way with words. You said
my
that
God.
about me yesterday.
Yes, you did. I know. I thought I'm just playing.
I was like, I know I'm not crazy.
She's
like,
okay.
So-
are we being serious?
Yeah, do we want? What do we want to start with? Though?
I
Do
think
we
we
want
should
to
start with our
with
childhood.
childhood? Okay.
I don't want to talk about that.
I want to go in chronological order.
I want you to talk about your earliest trauma.
Okay. What kind of?
I want to know what made us the psychopaths we are today.
Where is this going, people?
I just want to know what made you want strangers' affection. Go ahead.
How do you know
she's
that about
genuinely
me?
concerned right now.
Bree does not just give out her number to random people anymore.
Stop. We ain't gonna bring
I said
it up.
she
We ain't gonna bring it up.
Oh my
Okay?
gosh.
I be giving my number out. Okay.
She doesn't anymore, though. I said you don't anymore.
I gave it to somebody the other
Bree!
day.
Why would you do that?
I thought we made progress.
You're going to change your number.
Listen, I watch a lot of Criminal Minds.
Listen, they can get
Stop
a lot of
doing
info.
that.
No, they can't. Y'all be acting like people can kidnap you from your cell phone.
You don't know.
Wooly
They
goes,
can.
I know,
You
because I
don't
watched
know.
a lot of Criminal Minds. Not going to lie, the other day in the Uber, I said to Wooly, I know because I watched 16 seasons of Grey's Anatomy, so I know.
I'm a TV doctor.
That,
know
I
what I'm
mean,
doing.
Everybody TV doctor.
I'm a TV doctor. I'm a TV criminologist.
Yeah.
I'm all of
Scientist.
those things.
I'm an
I wear many
expert.
hats.
I need to stop watching Dateline because now I'm paranoid. I got in the Uber yesterday and I sent my location to my twin and to Joel. And they was like, "Why you tell me you
But
can?
what does that
in
even?
the Uber?"
What is that? Okay, I know we need to get about bullying, but here, question.
But here.
What does that do?
Something in my
Like
eye.
that does nothing. If you're sharing your location with someone who's 12,000 miles away, that you're in an Uber, and then your dot just stays in one place. I'm sorry, you were
At least they could call the cops and be like,
Right.
"This
She's
is their
murdered
last
here."
known location."
her body's here. Like,
How you gonna go immediately to my body being there?
because what are they gonna do? You sent an SOS?
Now I'm stressed.
I'm just saying,
was a
never
false-
trust an Uber.
We take an Uber all the time, fam.
We do.
Come
but-
together as a group. As a group.
Listen, okay, I did something dumb once. This is not bullying also. But anyway, we'll get back on that. So I was on my way back from LA and I had a connecting flight in DC, but it was like I had a 5-hour layover.
Ew.
It was the only one. So like I land in DC and I'm like, do I want to sit at this airport for 5 hours, rent a car and drive for 5 hours, or do I want to, go see DC for a little bit? Because I haven't been in a while. So I was by myself. I get an Uber. I'm like riding around the city. I call my husband and I was like, hey, just letting you know, like I left the airport. And he's like, what? That was stupid. Why? He's like yelling at me. He's like, why are you in an Uber by yourself in a city that you've been to once? And I'm like, I'm okay. Like I will be all right.
I've seen
And my
House of
Uber
Cards,
driver
we're
was the
fine.
nicest person.
Cards.
I've seen The Karate Kid. I
we'll
know
be
what I'm
fine.
doing. It's all right.
So,
Wax
e-
on,
so talking about segues, when I was at the airport, airport stories, bully stories, then we'll get to bullying. I was at the airport and they all connect. And I was waiting to leave coming in from Atlanta, right? So I'm like walking and I ran into someone, I was talking to them. And then we are on I was going to say trolley. What's it called? Ding, ding, ding. What's the thingy? The train, thanks. So I'm there and this guy through a mask, so you know it's bad when it's through a mask, was like, "Are your nails painted?" And I was like,
gosh.
And then I didn't hear him. So then he goes, "Are your nails painted?" with his mask down. And I was like, and I thought, I guess we're making funny exchanges. So I'm like, "Is your nose hair longer than the head on your hair?" And he was
the hair
like,
on your
the
head?
hair on your head. He was like, pissed. Said a couple mean things, and then thank God the train stopped and he got off. But I was like, I thought we were just like, I thought we were making jokes.
Why was it even his business? The audacity.
The audacity.
Oh my
The audacity that dudes have. But bullies.
That was a bully.
How many of you were bullied in your childhood?
Yes.
Raise your hand if you were victimized as a
I
child.
don't
I
think
can't tell if I was bullied or
Me.
like it was just normal kid like arguing type of situation.
Okay, we know
depends on
as
what it
teachers
was.
the difference between
Right.
bullying and like
Playing,
teasing or
yeah.
whatever is like over a span of time.
Give us an example, and we'll dissect it.
You talking to me?
Yeah, give us an example of what you don't know if it
We
was.
just roasted the crap out of each other all the time. I didn't have anybody that was like actively.
But like, okay,
picking
were
on
you
me or
guys
whatever.
like you guys were all in on it?
Yeah.
Oh, then that's not
just
bullying.
teasing.
I mean, I got
you're
beat
just
up one
you're just
time,
playing with
but,
each other.
I got beat up by this girl named Keosha for real at the
Well,
basketball
then
court.
that, yeah.
Keosha, if you listening, I hope your macaroni and cheese is dry for Christmas.
It will be. Karma has a way.
No, I was bullied hard.
What happened?
Yeah, like it's so my freshman year of high school, I was friends with this girl, and she was dating a senior at the time, which, okay,
Right.
but she and the senior broke up, and the senior like started to text me,
Oh, crap.
but I didn't like. I was friends with her, so I was like,
You was an innocent party.
Right.
yeah, I was just like, I'm just receiving these texts. And she was friends with other girls who also didn't like me for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And she like created this whole network of bullies to torment me in every class.
Oh my God.
So I just like spit on my face.
Knocked her out.
So like starting my sophomore year of high school, so I had bio first period, and I had like I wore hair extensions, like clip-in ones, because my hair was really short and it wouldn't grow back as long. And they would like sit behind me in class and just like roast my hair and like talk about me right behind me. I was sat in
Aw.
class crying every day.
Oh my God.
And then their friends in all their other classes, like their friend group, would like torment me throughout my day. So any class I went to,
Why are
I
you
had a
doing
girl sit behind me and bully me over like 4 or 5 months.
That's like tactical. That is like
That is
Right?
that's like
terrible.
clinical.
like by the
Do you
end
have
of it,
anything better to do?
Not
That
at
is
all.
ridiculous.
by the end of it, like I ended up having to go to the senior guidance counselor,
Yeah.
and she like blocked them from being in any more of my classes ever. Like
Yeah.
in all of high
That's
school, they weren't
awesome.
allowed to be in my classes, and I went to a big school, so it's
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
easy to do. And then like my senior year, so fast forward 2 years, this girl who was a part of that group, like she actually came up to me and was like, "Hey, I just wanted to say I'm really sorry for everything we did to you.
That's good.
I know, like, it was awful, but, like, I don't know why I did it. I'm really, really sorry." And I was like, "I forgive you." Like, I was like, "It was awful, but I forgive you."
That
like,
was really big of her to admit that, though, because that can be
Right.
really difficult, especially for students to be able to
Right.
do, teenagers to be able to do.
Right.
So that's awesome that she was able to not just grow as a person, but acknowledge,
reflect on it.
hey,
Yeah.
I am really sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Because what they did, like, they planned out what
They
they wanted
did.
to
Oh,
do.
Yeah,
it
that-
was
They-
intense.
That's not like little. That's not even just like
I
minimalized.
pushed your books out of your hands in the
100%, or just
hallway.
like little snide comments as you're walking. That's like
No. They've been
vicious.
planning that out.
They legit planned it, and I was like, "How?" I mean, it was kind of impressive, like how strategic
honestly,
it was.
I was gonna say
Yes.
that, but then I was like, that's so shit. Poopy. Tell them to do that. Believe that. But no, like that was like malicious.
It was
was
very,
us.
it was very, and I mean, the sad thing is, like, just me as a person, like how I am, I forgive and kind of forget.
Yeah.
But like, I even to this day am still friends with all these girls on Facebook, and I see their lives now, and I'm like, oh, she had another baby. Good for her. Like, I'm like, I just can't, I don't have it in me to be like, I hate you.
And you don't want
know?
to. You don't want to.
Right,
You don't want to carry
No,
that.
you don't want to hold
No.
on to that. And it's like, you know, you did this awful thing to me,
Yes,
but
and you know that you don't necessarily want to be their best friend now, and
No.
but you don't want bad things to happen.
right,
to
like
them.
I would be so happy to like never talk to you again in my life, but
Right.
do you?
I had this. The neighborhood I grew up in. I don't know why, it was bizarre. We were all the same age. So there was like 30 kids in this like little mile neighborhood that we
fun.
all were in the same grade. And so when I was younger, I had a terrible speech impediment until I was in like 8th grade. So we weekend to co-ed until you're in 8th grade. It wasn't easy. And then when you're queer and then you're Puerto Rican at a very white school, not easy. So, growing up, it was just like, it was terrible.
One thing after the other.
After, like, I one time told on a girl in my class because she was eating the end of her eraser, just chewing on it. And I was like, she's going to get lead poisoning. So they called me Tell the Tattletale. Aww. And then when I had like a little bit of a belly when I was in elementary school, so they called me Telly the Teletubby.
Aww.
And honestly, these are, but like, they're mean, but like,
so
but like,
mean.
honestly, that's, you got me. Like, as an adult, I can't be like, okay, that's funny, you know? But so I was telling you before we started the podcast, my freshman year of, and this was before Glee, by the way. I need to call Ryan Murphy, sir. That's my storyline. I was nominated for home.
I tell your husband you couldn't pronounce that word.
Nominated. He's gonna make cancel it. Like,
Doctor's
he's gonna go
mad.
get lessons on speech. So I was nominated. Oh my God. For Homecoming Prince. And when they called my name, they had a tiara and they announced me as the Homecoming Princess, and I was mortified. It was my freshman year, so just like set the tone. So then, anyways, like 2 years ago, I'm on, maybe even less than that, I'm on Facebook and I get a message from one of the guys I went to high school with. It's a long message, and it was like, I feel so bad about the teasing we did and all this, and like, if there's anything I could do now, but like, I I feel terrible with the way I made you feel. And he also married one of the girls that we went to school with that was super sweet. And I was like, honestly, like, there's nothing you can do. I'm just like really glad you came to terms with this now, and he's having kids. Like, so the best thing you can do is teach your boys specifically like what toxic masculinity is, and that, like, especially making fun of someone's like sexuality, something they cannot change, is like terrible for them. And it was the best conversation. Now, granted, I don't want to be like best friends with you. We haven't talked since this conversation, but it was just good knowing that he's like, as a dad, I'd be mortified if someone was doing that to my kids. I'm like, I love that.
These
Right.
kids don't
That's
understand.
awesome.
They do not understand their words and their picking at people and things like that. The amount of kids that have committed suicide.
Oh, yeah.
It's
because
sad.
We lost 2 kids at my school in the
That's
last
devastating.
3 or 4 years
Yeah.
because kids were bullying them and they just couldn't.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. Like, one thing I always tell, like, I do an experiment with not even an experiment, but I do like an activity with my students at the beginning of every school year. I get, and I'm sure it's a common one, I give each of them a bowl, a toothpick, and then toothpaste.
Yeah.
And I give them like 10 seconds. They say, you have 10 seconds to get out all of the toothpaste out of the tube. And they like squirt it all into the bowl. And then they're like, oh yeah, that was so fun. Like, that was so fast. I did it so quickly. And then I go, okay, now I'm going to give you like 30 seconds and you have to get all the toothpaste with your toothpick back into the tube. And they're like, what? Like, that's not, I can't do that. And so it's like funny to watch them do it. And then after, it leads into a really good discussion of like, okay, so yeah, it was really easy to squirt all the toothpaste. It was real fun to like get it all out and like to do all that. And then it's impossible to put it all back.
in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, kids will never, or people in general won't remember what you wore. They won't remember what your hair looked like. They won't remember like what your makeup was like, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Right.
I remember when I was in high school, and whenever I think back to people that really just made me feel bad about myself, it always came from people who at the time I really thought were my best friends.
I think that's the worst kind too.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in high school, and for those of you that don't know, like, I met Avery my senior year of high school, my husband.
High school sweetheart.
And, well, he was a little older than me. So he was in...
He was your high school sweetheart.
Yes. Yes. And before him, I was dating this guy, and it was like completely like toxic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was bad. But my best friend at the time was also dating my ex's friend. And just like finding, not only did at the time, found out, as my ex was cheating on me, she was covering for him, like, oh, that girl's pretty, but also like once I kind of got out of that circle and started dating Avery, she and the girls my ex cheated on me with went to Harris Teeter, bought
Wait,
a
what's Harris Teeter?
What is that?
It's y'all don't have Harris Teeter?
I was like, who?
We in the north.
I was like, who? I was
We're in
like,
the
who is
Midwest,
Harris
babe.
Teeter? Is
It's a
Harris
grocery
Teeter your
store.
cousin?
No, we don't
Harris.
have a fancy grocery
Is Harris
store.
Teeter her cousin? I
Harris
thought that was
Teeter's-
somebody's
Harris
cousin.
Teeter's a grocery
Yeah, I
store.
didn't, we don't have those.
But they went to Harris Teeter, bought a cookie cake, and had them write like prom ? Put it on my car.
No.
And they were like, "Hey, maybe you should." Like she trying like being my friend was like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't go with Avery. Like it looks like you have a secret admirer. Maybe don't try to make the distance work." And if I listened to her, I wouldn't be married to him right now. And she like just thinking back,
People are
on that,
devious.
like, who puts in the time for that? And
Like-
now we ended up going to the same college, and I tried to just kind of keep my
You
distance.
shoulda tripped her on the way to
and
school.
it's
You shoulda.
great. Like she's getting married now, and I hope she has a happy life and a happy whatever.
Do you think that they had cookie cake at their wedding?
Y'all
someone drops
shut
their
up.
cookie cake. Y'all
Are we the bullies? Is the call coming from inside the house?
Oh my God.
maybe.
But I just like who has nothing better to do that they just sit and plan. Like
Hurt
in my
people
situation,
hurt
in
people.
your
Hurt people do
situation,
hurt people.
They
Facts.
just plan. Like I want to make them feel bad.
And some people don't have the self-awareness to realize how their words
Yeah.
are affecting other people and that they're
Yes.
actually being a bully.
Right.
Honestly, and this isn't even about bullying in school. This was being bullied as a young teacher.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
When I tell you the number of older teachers who have openly said,
Yeah.
she's too annoying to have real friends. And I remember this really
terrible.
upset
I'm
me.
a real friend.
I
We're
remember
best
one
friends.
teacher literally, like my best friend at my old school, absolute best friend, love him to death. Another teacher just went around saying, just so you know, he's not really her friend. He's just waiting for her to leave so that he can stop pretending. And then like went to
Ouch.
my friend and was like, that's okay, right? My friend was like, why would you say that? And then I made a video about it, and at school he's, that's so on brand for her, just trying to get attention.
God.
It's literally about you,
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Yeah,
It's
Some
literally
people are
about
such
you.
crabs in a bucket, man. You know
that phrase,
You know, some
crabs
people
in a
are like,
bucket.
like if one crab try to crawl out of a bucket, the other crabs will pull that crab back down.
Oh my God, I've never heard of that.
So people
why
who
is
are
that
in
so funny to me?
people who are in
I love
miserable
that.
situations, they're
Yeah.
freaking crabs in a bucket, man.
I'm the first crab to grab you down too. I'm just like, if I'm
Where do you think
dying-
you're
Yeah,
going?
yeah.
Prettier than I do today.
Where do you think you're going?
No.
That was me with Tell last night. I said, if you look cuter than me going to dinner, I will hate you.
I was.
And
he did.
naturally, flawlessly,
We haven't talked
with no
since.
effort,
We now hate
looked
each
better
other.
than
Our
everybody.
friendship is over.
This is so uncomfortable.
No, but the amount my teacher bullying came more so in the sense that it was like, you're young, you don't know what you're talking
Right.
about, you have no expertise in this matter.
Right.
Like, sit down and shut up. Like, and it was kind of like, yeah, I didn't just go through 4 years of college and then now I'm
Right.
working on my master's degree and like, I don't have any of that knowledge.
I'm really trying to relate, but the way my attitude is set up and the way
can
my
stop
mouth is set up, don't even think about it. Like I just know I can't stand a bully, and I have absolutely no patience for it at all. And I'm like one of the friendliest people I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like super approachable. I will shut it down immediately. And I don't like seeing a teacher bully another, especially a younger teacher. I'm too outspoken. I say
Teachers-
something immediately.
Teachers are pooped on so much, and it is like this is something I talk about on TikTok a
know.
lot.
I can't help but laugh because I know you're being PG for me. And
You're welcome.
I'm like, it's like silly to me.
Appreciate it.
We were talking about rating our social medias, and I'm like, there's definitely some 4-letter words I use quite often.
Oh my gosh.
No, but
Listen,
like,
and I tell my kids straight up, I'm like, I curse. Just there's a
I'm
time and a
trying not
place
to.
for me, and school's not the one.
Right.
So like they know, but like I don't lie to them and pretend like I'm an adult. I say curse words.
Yeah.
But, like, it's so funny that my page is the PG
We're
one.
growing here. We're growing.
Poop.
No, I just think teachers, like, I always talk about how we have to advocate for each other, and although there are teachers that have annoyed me I mean, can't even describe. Like, you have to advocate for each
Yeah,
other, because
right.
when you're not working together is how we get into situations where administration or whatever is able to take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
And also take advantage of the niceness, like,
Yeah.
you can, if you want to go to a funeral, well, we don't have coverage for that. You're going to have to ask the other 5th grade teacher to step. It's like, no.
Yeah, no.
It's
See, what's really interesting, and this is just another like example of how poor some of the older teachers like they thought so
Yeah.
little of me, because this summer I worked for a company that did AP content and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
love history.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, she
love
does.
social studies so much. I could talk about it all day, and like I do a lot of research
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
And this was my 4th year teaching, and I just remember some of the older teachers like got in this huddle, and my friend, like they genuinely don't think we're friends. They genuinely think that I'm too annoying for him to want to be friends with me.
Right.
But
I'm
and
annoying
it's
too,
so
it's all
funny.
I'm so annoyed and loud.
They were like, 4th year teacher, like she knows enough about anything to be able to do that. And I'm like,
Were these
what?
were these other history teachers? Let me tell you something. Let's
Go
take
ahead, friend. Read
a
them.
moment.
Read them.
The library is open. That was a RuPaul reference. I didn't come up with that. Or that was Paris' Burning.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the thing.
I'm so impressed.
I love older teachers. They're seasoned, right?
Yes.
When we love that. In history, especially in the social studies field, it takes a lot for you to say, hey, what I've been teaching might be incorrect.
Yes.
So the younger ones are the ones coming in saying, actually,
I did
Right,
that
right,
once.
let's not
right.
rewrite
At-
history,
at
but
my first school, I said, hey guys, because I'm now teaching world religions, like I noticed that the way that we approach Hinduism in world history,
Right.
in Buddhism,
Right.
is not correct. And well, this is what we've done for 15
Right.
years. And
Right.
I'm like,
Why is it that because we've done something for so long, it can't
No.
change?
I think that's what
right.
bothers. So I think sometimes it's even just an intimidation of like, babes, we don't need to be teaching about Columbus and Thanksgiving the way that we know it anymore, and that's fine. Things have adapted. Let's
Right.
learn,
Right.
or
Yeah.
let's do it,
We
or
know
do it
more
differently.
now.
Let's do it differently.
Like even me being in school, I remember my school, like when I was in kindergarten, we took a trip to the other elementary school. They were the Pilgrims.
Yes, and the
we
Native
were
Americans.
the Native Americans. And we
What?
literally
Yeah.
had a little Thanksgiving
Yeah.
feast. And I'm like, I look
Yeah.
back at that, I'm like, no, we would not do
No.
that.
Oh,
Let's all
what's
dress
really
up like
interesting when it comes
Yes.
to content, like yes, the longer you teach, the more classroom management ideas and like teacher
Right.
ideas that you gain. But when it comes to content, you either know it or you don't. It
Right,
doesn't
it's
matter
fine.
how many years you've done it
and,
for.
and it's yeah, no, it's the like we're gonna get there. You're gonna learn classroom management. Like,
Yes.
like that is something I feel so bad for saying this, but anytime I have a student teacher, like, and I'm in a classroom management class right now, I'm like, oh,
No.
are you?
Yeah, I'm like, that's a joke.
I love that for you.
Yeah, you can't learn. Yeah, I love that.
You're gonna learn so much.
And when they come in the classroom, I'm like, no, this is like, we would love to be able to sit there. I know, I make jokes about this all the time, but like if I could just be like Mr. Monroe, because he's just so kind, I feel like would probably never lose his cool in a kid. And sometimes I'm just like, no, sit down. Like, it's like, I never do the correct, polite thing.
He's so kind. He like
so
walks
kind.
up and he's like, "Hey, buddy." I'm like, "Wake
buddy.
up! Why
No.
you sitting
Yeah,
in my
I'm like-
bed?
chucking
You
a
should
chair at
actually
him.
need to
Yeah.
get you. Wake
Could
up."
be chucking a chair at him. He'd be like, "Hey there, buddy.
Hey there, buddy.
Could you not throw that chair at my
And the kid
skull?"
would listen probably.
Throw that chair at your
All
mama,
right.
not at me.
All right, thanks.
just so y'all know, Mr. Monroe is like sitting off
in the
camera
room.
right now.
He's in the studio.
We love him so
Sitting
much.
out to the
If he
side.
came up to me and I did something wrong in class, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, I saw they did this," I would profusely cry.
I would cry. Yeah.
I would give him my firstborn. I would be like, "What do you need? How do I fix this?"
Mr.
'Cause-
Monroe, in about 15 years when I have my first child, I will
Right.
deliver him to your doorstep.
Right. It would take him to say, I'm disappointed in you, for me to be like, I'm done.
Me and Mr. Monroe have a deal that he will take my children when they're growing up, and then I'll take his high school, like when they're high schoolers. I'll teach the high
Switcheroos.
schoolers if he teaches mine as an elementary
Oh,
school.
I thought you meant
Switcheroo.
like your legit children. I
Yes,
was like,
our
you're gonna
legit-
trade kids?
Yes, we're gonna trade children.
But don't y'all feel like so he doesn't care about us talking about him because he's sitting right there. But don't y'all know he has a podcast called What the World Needs Now?
It is
And it's
Do y'all not
phenomenal.
feel like
Ever.
he is like the
He's
young
what the world
version?
needs.
He's like the young version of Mr.
Mr.
Rogers.
Rogers.
Does that,
Like,
really
does that mean he
super
can be my
wholesome.
brother?
Yes.
Ah, no.
Yes.
No,
We're trading our children.
Mr. Monroe, his entire goal in life, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is like to spread just positivity, love, and kindness.
Give us a
And, like,
thumbs up if that's correct.
Yes.
He's giving
Oh
us
my
a
gosh,
thumbs up.
he gave us a thumb down.
He's so cool.
No, but he's the most like wholesome, kind person
Super
I've ever
wholesome.
met.
I think we all. When I was at the school I'm at now, long story, but anyways,
Right.
we'll get into that at another episode. So I walked in, and I'm not gonna say names, was like, "Happy Cinco de Mayo, Tal," and I was like, "Cool." And she was like, "You can speak Spanish all day if you want." And I said, "What?" She's like, "Cinco de Mayo." I said, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican." She's like, "Okay." I said, so Cinco de Mayo is a Mexican holiday, and she had no idea why a Puerto Rican wouldn't celebrate a Mexican holiday. And I'm like, just because we're not.
Oh my
And
God.
then my second one, though, was we were doing around the world themed. And so we had something, if you're in Australia, it's white bread with butter and sprinkles, and they call it fairy bread. And in front of everyone, they said, "This is actually called fairy bread. We didn't name it after Mr. Williams."
Oh no!
Oh my
And
gosh.
so when I started doing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start writing these down. So I had them, but I was like, am I being bullied
Yes.
by administration and teachers? And I think they
Yes.
thought genuinely that they were like, he is my best gay friend, and like it's okay for me to say this because but I'm like, no, this is gross. You can't say that. And like like at first I'd be like, huh? And then the colleagues that like I love would be like, are you okay? And I was like, oh, that was a crappy thing to say.
Oh my God!
Right?
I had okay, my
Yes.
first year teaching, like at the school I used to teach at. My principal was god awful. Like
Yeah.
she was the worst. And like the worst. Like I have nightmares about her, and I'm like, huh.
Dang.
No, she's awful. And she was like, my first year teaching, I was having issues with like behavior of one kid, and she, like, I asked her, I said, what do you think we should do about this? And she like came straight up to me and she was like, well, that's my job to decide that. It's not yours. And I was like, well, I'm not trying to decide what happens. I'm
Oh,
just
you're in the
asking.
classroom every day with them?
Right. I'm like,
Sounds
I'm just
nice.
asking what I can do. And then like fast forward 9 months later, like we were having the same issue. She comes to find me on the playground at recess, and she was like, hey, I just wanted to get your opinion. What did you think we should do about this? And I looked at her and
I
went,
didn't think.
that's not my job. That's yours.
Okay.
I would have given it back.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't come for me when I'm trying to ask you a question and then ask
come
me.
for me.
Don't
So
you
what you're
come
saying
for
is
me.
for you.
everyone needs a Brie and a Mr. Rogers or Josh in their lives.
Yes.
Wait, why me and Mr.
Because you would be the one to like
Stick up for
defend
us.
and stick up,
Yes.
and Mr. Rogers Josh would sit there and make us all feel good
Hey,
about
buddy.
it.
But I fight,
So
though.
you're sad.
You can fight. You have the yin
know,
and the
but I-
yang. You're good.
See, here's when it comes
Breathe
to
the
me,
muscle.
I'm not very good at being like, don't say that to me. But like, if
Man,
I were to
look.
see someone come up and say something rude to you or you,
It's easier.
Listen, for the first time
Oh,
ever,
no.
I actually did like stick up. I'm not one to stick. I'm not confrontational.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I don't like that. So like usually I'll just let something go. But like someone did something to me last year, and I like went straight up to them and I was like, I don't appreciate you talking about me to this person or whatever. And I was like, go me, yeah.
You have to stick up.
I'm like, you better get them, bestie. I'm gonna hype you up.
Next time I have to confront someone, I'll call Brie and be like, hype me up. Let's go. I need
need
some
to
words
know,
of
I need to
wisdom.
know.
Come and hype me
Okay,
up.
as we wrap up the episode, then, what is a tip you have for my biggest tip is if someone says something gross to you, I ask them to repeat it because second time they usually won't say it, and I like they'll make a joke and they know it's on purpose. You go, oh, I didn't.
That's a really good
What was
tip,
that?
actually.
And then,
To explain
because it gives
it.
them a second to think about it, and then say, oh, never mind, and then I just let it go. Because if they said it the first time, maybe they thought they were being funny. If you're asking them to repeat it and they can recognize their mistake, then we're good.
Yeah.
Then we're good.
My advice: try Jesus, not me, cause I throw hands.
Oh my gosh, I like that.
I have two, kind of, because when you made me think of one,
Yeah.
and that like if they do repeat the joke or
Yeah.
if they say something that's inappropriate, I don't get it. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, 100%.
And then they realize like,
Ew,
oh,
yeah, I didn't miss
or maybe
that.
they're just like embarrassed of
Yeah,
like,
as they
oh,
should have been,
oh.
probably.
But also something that my mom always said is that people who go out of their way to tear you down are so miserable with themselves and are so miserable at home, and they're trying to project to make them feel better.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to, like, it's easier saying remember that
Right,
than actually
right.
practicing it, but just do your best
Yeah.
because I want you to feel good.
Unless you ask a middle schooler, they say something, you be like, "What you say?" They just gonna repeat
Is
it.
that- and louder and louder,
And louder,
with more
with
swears.
emphasis,
Yeah.
right.
More swears. I mean, yeah, mine is pretty much like I just try to keep the mindset of like this person would not be saying those things to me if they were completely comfortable with themselves,
Right.
Yeah.
and if they were secure in their situation in life. And so, like, as long as I'm doing what I can to be a nice person and I feel okay with my actions, then you can't control what other people do.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had so much fun kind of segueing between different topics today.
Yeah.
But
Go
ahead.
I said we have a small surprise for next week because it's going to be Thanksgiving, and so we thought that we would have our own little Friendsgiving and have a couple other people come and say hi and tell stories and just have fun with us. So we can't wait for you to come in and see them or
Bye,
hear
best
them.
friend.
Bye, my loves.